This is probably the most important video I upload. Man, I was at home just reflecting, and man, God hit me with something, and man, it just rocked my world. The concept of this video is from victim to vital. And what I mean by that is this, man, so long and so many times in my life, I've found a reason to be the victim. I found a reason to be hurt. I found a reason to blame my dad for not being there. I found a reason for things not working. I found a reason for, I feel like the world is against me. And for so long, man, that has been a narrative, right? Not to the point where I just stopped, but I just found reasons to not give God glory in the smallest of things, right? And when we're choosing to be a victim, that we're basically taking our eyes off of God, and we're failing to be grateful for the entire journey, not just a few steps, not just a day, not a week. You're choosing to be ungrateful for the entire journey. And hear me out. I'm not saying that what you go through isn't challenging. I'm not saying what they did was right. I'm not saying, you know, you it didn't hurt. I'm not saying any of those things. But when I chose to be a victim, I closed the door of any God opportunity. When I chose to be a victim, I closed the door for any healing. When I chose to be a victim, I closed the door on freedom that is rightfully mine, right? You're a child of God. Freedom is a birthright. A sound mind is a birthright. Being loved, choosing yourself, loving yourself, being forgiven, that's birthrights. And when I was choosing to be a victim, it was just so much harder for me to see God's hand in anything. And when I was sitting back and I was reflecting over just my life and everything I've been through, man, God said from victim to vital. When I stopped choosing to be the victim, when I started to just look at life as one big journey and one big series, I started to realize no matter how hard it was, no matter how difficult it was, no matter what they did, no matter what I've been through, I made it through it. I'm still here to tell the story. I'm still here to experience more. And this is the challenge for anybody who's ever been a victim. I am. So I'm not just saying it's you guys and it's us. No, we all choose to be a victim at some point of our life. But what you have to do, and this is your work to do, is you have to see life from a 30,000-foot view. Try your best to see life from God's point of view, right? When Jesus was on his way to the cross, he wasn't surrounded by roses and it was beautiful music in the background playing. The Bible said he was so sweaty, he was so stressed about it that he was sweating blood, right? But in that moment, it looked like, man, I don't want to be a follower of God. This is what he does to people who lay down his life for him. I don't want to be a follower of God. But when you zoomed out, that moment meant everything, because he was about to bear the sins of the world so that we may have eternal freedom, that we may be in relationship with God. But when we choose to be a victim, we zoom in so much and we make the world so much about us that we fail to see what God is doing in chapter 6, 7, chapter 8, chapter 9. This is why from victim to vital. When you zoom out and you look at the entire story, not just what happened in a moment, when you look at the entire story, you see that God allowed you to go through all of those things for a reason. God allowed you to go through all of those things. And don't miss that. He allowed you to go through them. Yes, the storm came, but you made it to the other side of the storm. And a lot of times we get so caught up on the fact that, God, why did you let this storm persist in my life? Because I wanted to give you perseverance. God, why did you let this confusion take hold of my mind for 3 years? Because I wanted you to know what wasn't of me. God, why did you let so many bad people in my life? Because I wanted you to never bow to no other God, material or man. But when you fail to zoom out and you just choose to be a victim, and we hit God with all of these questions, we'll never get to experience the freedom of his answers. When all we have is questions for God that is rooted in fear and selfishness, we'll never get to experience the freedom in his answers, right? But when you zoom out, man, you realize that everything that I was going through was vital. Me not having a father growing up, man, It softened my heart for my daughters. It softened my heart for marriage. It softened my heart for other people. I don't just go around, say, "Oh, it'll be fine," or just being harsh with other people, because I know what it's like to feel overlooked. I know what it's like to not feel seen. I know what it's like to not feel like you measure up. But I don't think I would be this way if I had a father. I would just probably be a little bit more spoiled. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that people with fathers are spoiled, or, that's their take. But for my scenario, and I don't even care how it would be if my father was present. You want to know why? Because that was not my life. My life is how I grew up. A single mom, eight eight of us in a home. It wasn't the best of scenarios, but it was the best chapter that God could give me for that season, because he saw today, from victim to vital. Everything that you've been through, I don't care how bad it is, it still is in the hands of God. Right? Y'all already know how this goes. Meet me in the comments. It's still in the hands of God. Whatever storm, whatever setback, whatever happened, whatever you're doing to yourself, if you're self-sabotaging yourself, it's still in the hands of God. God will take the victim, and he will make all of that pain and that purpose and that perseverance, he will use it for his vital purpose. Yes. And it took me so long to grasp this. But when I step back and I just look at life from God's view, to the best of my abilities, right? I don't understand everything, but I do know that this world is bigger than me. The world doesn't revolve around my problems or everything that I'm going through. And when you get to that place, when you allow God to guide you to that place, man, everything changes. When we choose to be a victim, it's hard for us to experience freedom, because we only bring our problems and our concerns to God. But if he only reveals to you half of the problem, you don't really see the solution. You only see half of the problem, right? I forgot what law this is, but it's a law that says a problem written down is half solved. And a lot of us live our life like that. We only know the problem, and we don't even focus on half of the solution being real. We just solely focus on, God, I wrote this problem down, here it is, look at what's wrong with my life. But a problem written down is half solved. Think about that. So whatever you're going through, there's two sides to it. Yes, you got this part that is keeping you up at night. Yes, you got this part where you're feeling lonely and you're in isolation. But then in all of those things, you still have the opportunity to say, you know what, God, though this hurts, though I don't understand it, this is still an opportunity for me to sit at your feet. This is still an opportunity for me to grow in my faith. This is still an opportunity for me to grow in understanding and in patience. Look, I pray that this video blessed you. This has been sitting on my heart, man, for weeks, and I'm just honored to share it with you. Look, if this added any value to you, yo, send this video to somebody who needs it. I'm praying for your new normal. Be blessed. Until next time. Peace.